Hi everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed the Ccal by Wendy, and I have been doing some online classes with a couple of groups that I normally teach. So I volunteered to do this one for the Knitting and Crochet Guild. If, like me, you need to keep your fingers occupied to help you cope with all of this. So today's project is a triangular shawl, and you can see here that it also has a contrasting yarn around the outside. So I'm going to do 3 videos for this, because although the predominant aspect of this is squares, if I can come down and zoom in a little bit, oops, that didn't work, did it? You can see that there is also a triangle included, and then I've done this edging and some tassels. So the second video will do the triangle, and the third video I'll do look at different options for finishing off the edging, because you might not like what it is that I've done. So I'm gonna just pop this phone back on the stand up here so that I can do the actual tutorial video. So bear with me for just 1 second while I untangle all my cables. Okay, there we go. So this shawl is one that you can change the size of quite easily if it isn't quite what you were looking at for. And I've used a blue-faced Leicester wool hand dyed Buchanan DK, which I got from Albanach Yarns, and it's hand wash only, and it's 100 grams. It's a lovely yarn to work with. I did this with a 4mm hook, but today, for the process of helping you see what it is that I'm doing, I'm using an iron weight yarn. So I'll just put this to one side for a second, and I'll bring in the actual square here that we're going to make today. So once we've made the square, I'm going to show you then how to begin to join your squares, and I will post up a written pattern, which I'll probably just take pictures of a pattern and then a written pattern and just post it up. So if we will start with this centerpiece here, and if I zoom just ever so slightly, you can see that's made up of trebles there, and I've got corners with chains in between which form the rest of the round. And some people prefer everything to be absolutely exact, and I was really looking for something with a bit of texture, a bit of lace, and a little bit of movement about it. So you can see this one hasn't been blocked, so but you can see that I've altered the size of the chains in between, and once you've actually joined them and blocked it, they actually sit really quite nicely. This one obviously looks quite different because I've literally just kind of finished this. So some people will do crochet designs and they'll want everything to marry up absolutely perfectly, but I found that in the final round with this design, I needed this loop here just to be slightly larger, just to help it to sit properly. So this is by no means written in stone. If you decided with your tension that you wanted to do more or less or exactly the same chains in between, that's up to you. But I'll give you the basic design, and then you can decide what it is that you're going to do with it. So we'll start with the center here, and as I said, I'm using a an iron weight yarn just so that it's easier for you to see, and I'm using a 7mm hook. So according to the design book that I have used in here a 4mm hook, and I quite like these little booklets because they've got various bits and pieces in it. So each square on the original with the DK blue faced Leicester and a 4mm hook measured 10 centimetres on each side. This one obviously is much more because we're using a different, I don't know why I did that, but we're using a different hook. So I'm going to start off with a magic loop, and if you've never done this before, then I would recommend you perhaps going on to YouTube and having a look and seeing and having a little practice with that. But this is how I do it, and again, it's not written in stone, everybody finds their own way. Because this is a chunkier yarn, I'm going to use 3 fingers. I would normally only use 2 when it's a DK. So I'm just gently going to pull this round, and then I'll lay that on my little finger and I will clamp it with my thumb. I'll take the working yarn, which is this one here, and I will also clamp that with my thumb. Now that means that I can put my hook under the first 2, I can take the working yarn, pull it under, remove the hook, insert the hook from right to left, I'm obviously right-handed, turn the hook sideways and then come down, and you can see what's happening as I'm pushing this up. The little loop here is getting smaller and smaller. So just before it gets too small, I slip the hook through, and if I just move it up slightly, you can see it's tightened really well. So then what I do is just take that and get my fingers sorted out ready to crochet. I also like to, when I'm working with the magic circle, magic loop technique, just to have my fingers, and I use these to keep the loop open to do the tension. And so I'm going to start with a chain 3, and then the rest of the pattern calls for 19 treble crochets, and we'll treat this chain 3 as one of the trebles. So in actual fact, in our circle we're going to have 20 trebles, and I would encourage you just to snuggle them up against each other as you make them. So I'll just zoom in ever so slightly here. So I'm just gonna, I find this iron weight yarn a little tricky to work with, if I'm honest, but it's just easier for you to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, another 16 to go. And again, I'm just snugging them up and making sure that loop stays nice and loose. Because if you work your crochet into this circle, sorry I took you out of camera shot there, what happens is you then find it really tricky to complete your magic loop because you can't see the 2 so I'm making this look extremely difficult, but I'm making a treble hash, I think, but you're getting the gist of it. And I keep splitting my yarn, which isn't much help. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. So there's another 10 to go. Now obviously, because I'm struggling with this yarn, my tension isn't as good as it ought to be, but bear with me. It's also the position that I have the camera in means that I'm kind of working round an obstacle to try and see through, but getting there. And oops, incomplete. I'll just snuggle that background a little bit because I want to keep as much of these two loops free as I can. So I just keep snuggling them all up together. There we go. Let's do a double check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, oh, that tension is unacceptable. We'll do 17 again. 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay. So this is our tail here. So if I pull the tail, one of these loops is going to start to get smaller. Honestly, it will. You see, that one's getting smaller. So what I do is I go, so it was going in that direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the opposite end, and I'm holding onto my crochet and I'm just pulling, and what happens is, pull that back so you can see, what happens is that second loop starts to pull in. You want to get rid of all of that, pull it all the way in, and then what you do is you take your tail and you pull the tail really firmly, and that will pull in the rest of your crochet, and you can pop that round. Now, I absolutely hate sewing in ends, so I am a little bit naughty sometimes. I will literally just crochet over this as I crochet, but first of all I've got to join it. So here's my chain 3 from the beginning, chain 1, chain 2 and chain 3. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of this. Sorry, I'm trying to look through the camera. If I don't look through the camera to do this, I'm sure it'll be perfectly easy. Here we go. So I'm just going to slip stitch that, but I want these two loops to be the same size. Give it a wee pull, and then if I just pull down on this tail, I can get a really, really snug centre. Now if you wanted to put a bit of accent into your scarves, you could actually put, I don't know, like a pearl or something in the centre there if you had a mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that tail and I'm going to lay it up when I'm crocheting along. It doesn't quite marry, but that's what I'm going to do just now to get out of the way. So the next part of my pattern tells me to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And do 1 treble into the same space. So I'm going to treble into the top of that chain 3 that I slip stitched into and make a treble there. So you see, in effect, I've made the first corner there. And then my pattern says chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and skip the next 4 trebles. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if the mathematicians in you haven't already worked this out, I'm going in every 5th stitch, and 5 into 20 will give me 4 corners. I need to make the corner, so I chained 3, and treble into the same space. And that gives me my second corner. Chain 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the fifth one and make a treble. Chain 3, make a treble in the same space there. That is my third corner. Chain 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Zip 1, 2, 3, 4 and treble into the fifth stitch there. 1, 2, 3. Make the last corner and chain 6. Whoops. 4, 5, 6. Apologies for the technique of crocheting. I don't normally crochet with this. In fact, actually normally I crochet with thread. That's my preference. So at the beginning of this round we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chain, and then so what we want to do is to do a slip stitch into the third of the chain 6. Just pull that up so they're both similar size, and then just pull that loop through to make a slip stitch. So we've got 4 corners with chain 6 in between, and that is the end of our first row. Now at the start of the second round we will slip stitch into the first chain 3 space, and then we will work a chain 3 and we will work 4 trebles. 1, 2, whoops, snug that up, 3 and 4. Now because we're making the corner we need to have a chain, so we will chain 3, snug that up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because the first chain 3 counts as a treble, and we will work 5 trebles in to this corner space. 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so now we've got to make the bridge across the gap here, and I have chained 3 for this. So you know we did chain 6 on the first row, but I would say I have done these chain 3s with a loose chain 3. They're not tight chain 3, so it's a loose chain 3. Let me just zoom that out a little bit to make sure that I get all of this on camera. So here we had a chain 3, which was our first treble. We had 4 trebles, a chain 3 and then 5 trebles. So we had 5 trebles, chain 3, 5 trebles, and that's what we're going to do all the way around. So we'll start off with our first of 5 trebles into the second corner. 2, 3, 4 and 5. And snuggle this up. Now obviously if you were writing a pattern for a thicker yarn, you wouldn't obviously be having a corner of this size. You would make it suit the yarn, but as I say, this is for demonstration purposes. So we've got 3 chain, and then so what we need to do to complete the corner is 5 more trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, and 5. And again, a loose chain 3, come across to the next corner because we made the bridge across the gap there, and we need to do 5 trebles, whoops, into that space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one. 5, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 5 more trebles. I'll snuggle that around a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then my loose chain 3, sorry, skip the gap that we bridged before and work the last corner. So it's 5 trebles, Wendy, not half trebles, 3, 4, and 5. Then 1, 2, 3, snuggle that round to give us space to fit the others in, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's our last corner completed, and we just need to bridge this gap here. So a loose chain 3, and we did a chain 3 at the start, 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to slip stitch into this chain 3 at the top to join the round. Okay, so the next round we are going to chain 3, and we're going to work a treble in each of the following 4 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, some people don't like the chain 3 at the start of the round. They feel sometimes it makes the crochet look different, and sometimes I have changed it myself and actually just did a treble, but it is easier if you have a chain 3 when you come back to the beginning to join the round. But again, it's personal choice. If you want to work a treble there, then try and work into it, then that's entirely up to you. Now, so we're at the corner space here, and into this corner space, I'll just turn the pattern page over, the last row, and we are just going to work 1, slightly different this one, 2, and 3 trebles with 5 chain, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so in this round you can see that we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trebles that we worked into from the previous row, including our chain 3, which counts as the first treble. Then we've got 3 trebles, chain 5, and then you've got chain 3 trebles on the other side. But then what you've got to do is you need to work 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we come over to this gap, this bridge here, and at this time I am going to go and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, 6. Then I am going to treble into this next treble and all the other trebles until I get to the corner, and then because this is where we're going to join, I'll stop and show you the first join. Okay, so I'm going to work the first 3 trebles of the corner. So 1, 2, that's not half treble, Wendy, it's a treble, and 3. Now, if you remember from this one, the chain is 5, so, but we have the first square and we need to join here and here. So having completed those 2 sides, I know that I'm going to have to join using these corners. So the best way, easiest way to do that is to chain 2, and this is why there's an odd number. Pull up a bit of a loop, have your first square with your right side facing, and I do find this easier to do on the table, but you know, it's entirely up to you. So I will take my hook out of my working yarn. I've chained 2, insert my hook right side to wrong side, put my yarn back on my hook and tighten it up, pull that through, oops, without losing it. Then I'm going to chain 2, because if you remember we had a chain 5, so the slip stitch where I pull it through is acting as the third of the 5 chains. Now what I'm going to have to do here is I've got a half completed corner, so I'm going to have to do 3 trebles into this corner. 1, 2, and 3. And then I am going to work, I'll just zoom out a little bit, then I am going to work 1 treble into each of the next 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now you can, if you want here, you can do a chain 5, but I just found that was a little bit snug. So I've actually done a chain 6 bridge, but what I've done is I've done the first 3 chains removed my hook, zoom in a little bit more, and then with the right side facing, I will insert my hook under, tighten up the loop, pull the loop through, because I'm making that look so tricky and it really is not. I've split my yarn, which doesn't help. Pull that loop through, make another 3 chains, 2, 3, which gives me my 6. Then I'll skip the gap and I will work 1 treble into each of the following 5 trebles in here. So that's 1. I'll zoom out a little bit so that we can see that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. What is it with splitting this wool tonight? 5. Now, just like I did when I joined this side, I will chain 2, remove my yarn, insert my hook, tighten that, pull it through, and I will chain 2. I will work. Oh, do you know, I've made a mistake, haven't I? Because I haven't completed the first half of my corner first, so we'll take that back out. Oops. I'm too busy being nosy and listening to what's going on in the rest of the house in the background here. So do the first half of the corner. Then chain 2. That's better. Put that on, pull it through, just do a wee chain, and then, so that's my chain 5 effectively, really. And then I need to complete the rest of my corner with my chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, apologies for a bit of throwing rather than hooking going on here. There we go. And then so I now need to continue finishing the rest of this round to get me all the way back to the previous corner. That's 3, 4, oops, 5, chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, my yarn's got a little bit snagged around the table. Treble into the first of the 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do the first half of the corner this time. 1, 2, 3, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull that round so I've got space to work into the corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I won't chain 6. Now I could take this video back and do it again, but you know, I won't, because there's none of us perfect, and I'm not going to start again just because I made a mistake. It happens. Here we go. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now it's chain 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And I am going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round, just as we have done all of the way round, and I'll just slip stitch and I will snip that off there, leaving a little bit of a tail, pull it through, and then what I like to do is just take a smaller hook, because as I say, I don't normally like sewing in ends, so if the yarn is one which is unlikely to unravel itself in the wash, and I'm working maybe, I don't know, a crochet edging around this, then I would just crochet the tail in, but all I'm doing is just pulling it through the loops, and I'll just do a few more. I'm just pulling it through. I'm not pulling it through all of the loops. I have split my yarn, which is so I'm not pulling it through all of the loops. I'm only pulling it through the back loops, and I'll stop there because I've split my yarn. Okay, so you can see here what's happened is I've joined the two together in the corner, the center, and the other corner. I'll zoom out a little bit. Now, let's have a look a little bit at my diagram for doing this. And as I say, if you so choose, you can make yours bigger. So, put that to one side for 1 second. So, I've started with, I think I've zoomed in a little bit. I've started with this one, which is 1. And then so 2 is this one, which is here. So that would mean that 3 would be joined here next to 2. So actually I would join 3 in this corner, the center, and then I would join it into this corner. Now what I do when I'm joining where a corner's already been joined, there, so I would join it into this space here. Okay, so we've got 2 and then 3, so then 4 would be joined to 2, 5 would be joined here and here and here, then 6 would be joined to 5, then we come down and 7 is joined, square 7 is joined here and here to 4, square 8 is joined in 3 places, it's joined in the centre as well, but it's joined in 3 corners, and then 9 is joined, and then 10 is joined just in these places here, and so on and so forth. So if you wanted to make, I don't know if you wanted to use a 4-ply yarn and a 2.5, because at the minute most of us are just using upstash. So if you've got double knitting, I used a 4mm hook and my squares came out at 10 by 10 centimeters. So you would just have to adjust however many you need depending on what size you want your shawl to be. But then, so mine is basically 21, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, And so it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So if I wanted it to be 70, say, I would just add on another one there, just by adding on another row. And then so you can see that this here, so if I added on another row there, say, so you can see here that I would need a triangle for there, a triangle for there, triangle for there, and then a triangle here, triangle there, and triangle there, and that gives me a straight edge to my shawl when I've done all of my triangles. So that gives me a straight edge to my shawl. So it's entirely up to you. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, but the next video which I'll upload will show you how to do the triangles, and I'll upload the pattern as well. So I'm not sure if there's anything else. I'll just double check there's nothing else I need to tell you at the minute. No, I don't think so. So as I say, when I used the double knit blue faced Leicester, each of these were 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. Okay, so I hope you can do a de-stash with this. The one that I used and did the original pattern for, I used, I think it was Stylecraft Boutique as well, just to practice on. I did different colours for the centre, and then the outside was different colour as well. So it's entirely up to you, and each one of them will look quite different. So I'll leave you with that, and if you have any queries, questions, you can post them up on the Facebook. I gather that everybody's having a separate page for the Cals. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing what you're making. Please post pictures, because it will vary so much with different colours. And I'll see you again soon. Bye. Stay safe, stay well.